Welcome to Salem Witchcraft Daily. I'm Josh Hutchinson.
This is Sarah Jack. March 27th, 1692 was a Sunday, the Sabbath day. As always, Reverend Samuel Parris led his congregation through two worship services, one in the morning and another in the afternoon.
Parris wrote in his sermon notebook that he chose his topic for this day because of dreadful witchcraft broke out here a few weeks past, and one member of this church and another of Salem, upon public examination by civil authority, vehemently suspected for she-witches, and upon it committed.
His sermon topic was, Christ knows how many devils there are in the church and who they are.
Sarah Cloyce knew he was talking about her sister, Rebecca Nurse, and she ran out.
Sarah Stevens and Marjorie Pask will later claim in a June 29th deposition that after Sarah Cloyce fled the meetinghouse, she met the devil outside the front door, curtsied, signed his book, curtsied again, and took her leave.
After Cloyce left, Parris continued his sermon. One thing he said was that there are certain sins that make us devils. See that we be not such.
He listed 7 forms of a sinner:
A liar or plunderer,
a slanderer or an accuser of the godly,
a tempter to sin,
an opposer of godliness,
envious persons as witches,
a drunkard,
last a proud person,
and concluded his sermon with, none ought, nor is it possible that any should, maintain communion with Christ and yet keep up fellowship with devils.
Even after all the sermonizing, Samuel Parris still was not done with his church members. When worship was over, he dismissed non-members, as he would normally do on a Sacrament Sunday like this, because only confessing members could come to the Lord's table.
However, before he administered communion, he read a statement against Mary Sibley's involvement in the witch cake incident.
He said, "It is altogether undeniable that our great and blessed God, for wise and holy ends, hath suffered many persons in several families of this little village to be grievously vexed and tortured in body, and to be deeply tempted, endangering to the destruction of their souls. And all these amazing feats, well known to many of us, to be done by witchcraft and diabolical operations."
He said, it is also well known that when these calamities first began, which was in my own family, the affliction was several weeks before such hellish operations as witchcraft was suspected, nay, never break forth to any considerable light until diabolical means was used by making of a cake by my Indian man, who had his direction from our sister Mary Sibley, since which apparitions have been plenty, and exceeding much mischief hath followed. And by this means it seems the devil hath been raised among us, and his rage is vehement and terrible, and when he shall be allayed, silenced, the Lord only knows.
But now that this our sister should be instrumental to such distress is a great grief to myself and our godly, honored, and reverend neighbors who have had the knowledge of it. Nevertheless, I do truly hope and believe that this our sister doth truly fear the Lord, and am well satisfied from her that what she did it ignorantly, from what she had heard of this nature from other ignorant or worse persons.
He further recorded, yet we are in duty bound to protest against such actions as being indeed a going to the devil for help against the devil. We having no direction from nature or God's word, it must therefore be and is accounted by godly Protestants who write or speak of such matters as diabolical, and therefore call this our sister to deep humiliation for what she has done, and all of us to be watchful against Satan's wiles and devices.
Therefore, as we in duty as a Church of Christ are deeply bound to protest against it, as most directly contrary to the gospel, yet inasmuch as this our sister did it in ignorance as she professeth, and we believe we can continue her in our holy fellowship upon her serious promise of future better advisedness and caution, and acknowledging that she is indeed sorrowful for her rashness herein,